Welcome to Wildly Wealthy Life, the show that's all about exploring the different paths to a life of freedom and fulfillment and how that ripples through your personal life, family life, and to the community. Join husband and wife power couple Lee and Kat Hughes as they share people's stories from different backgrounds and lifestyles about what it means to live a life well lived. Tune in and take that first step to becoming the best version of yourself, personally and professionally, here on Wildly Wealthy Life.
Hi guys, welcome again to Wildly Wealthy Life. My name is Lee.
And my name is Kat, and today is our 25th episode celebration. We are baby podcasters, and we feel that this is such a milestone for us, and we're really big about celebrating our small victories. So today, we're going to celebrate by first and foremost thanking you guys for listening across all over the world and tuning into our podcast from Australia
To Belgium.
to Canada
And France.
Germany,
Ireland.
Japan,
Kenya.
Luxembourg,
The Netherlands.
New Zealand,
Philippines.
Romania,
Singapore.
Sweden,
Thailand.
USA, of course.
And the great and wonderful UK.
Well, thank you guys for listening. And it's just so amazing to know that a lot of our guest stories are being listened to from around the world. And we really hope that you've taken a lot of good nuggets out of it and have applied it to your own life.
For today's special celebration episode, we're sharing our wins with podcasting and some of the lessons that we've learned throughout the process to help you avoid making some of our podcasting mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We're also doing a recap of our guests. And at the end, we have a very special giveaway. So make sure you stay tuned to the end.
So let's strap in and get started.
All right, everyone. So let's get started with our top 5 podcasting lessons. Number 1, click on the Zoom settings for sound and video options.
Yeah, so basically the first, I'd say 15, I think actually 20 episodes, first 20 episodes of our of all our podcasts, we did not know to click on the Zoom settings to make sure that it is actually choosing the audio from our Scarlett interface. And so instead, it was recording just straight to the computer. So we were using a mic thinking that our audio was amazing. And then it was actually just recording through the computer. So make sure you check your settings, and it's recording where you want it to record.
And number 2, record on separate audio so it's easier for you or your editor to make edits.
So yeah, we didn't know that there's an option to be able to record separate audio, and that literally makes for such an easier way for your editor later on, or for you to edit the audio. So just make sure to do that.
It's just simple things, but they go a long way. Number 3, find a room with no distractions so you can focus your eye line and your attention.
Yeah. So basically, when quarantine happened, which is literally when we've been recording these episodes, everybody is home, and it's been really, really hard to find the time. And sometimes we just push it and we're like, you know what? It's okay. Everybody's home. Let's record these episodes anyway. And if you can just wait and make sure that the room is clear, the house is clear until you record, it's so much better, because then you don't get distracted by all the other people walking around your house, and then your eyeline is all over the place. So yeah, that's another podcasting thing we've learned.
One thing that we've done kind of unintentionally was number 4, and that is to batch record. So don't wait till the last minute to record things. Try to batch everything together into one session or a series of sessions to make things run smoother.
Yeah, it was kind of unintentionally, but at the same time, I kind of did think how it's so much easier to maybe batch record things. So we did that, and that was such a good thing that we learned just throughout this process, because we weren't panicking on how many more episodes we need to record so that we're on schedule. So that was really great.
Yeah, I think that part of that too is just, you can do almost 3 weeks worth of video footage in one day.
Yeah, totally.
And that stretches out, so it takes takes some pressure off, like your timelines and whatnot for the future. And number 5 is actually just do it. Kind of stealing that quote from Nike, but start to things you think you should. Try to invest in learning, and don't be afraid.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we overanalyze things. We try to overeducate ourselves. I think there is a fine balance between, and understanding what it takes to podcast, understanding what it takes to do these things, but at the same time, just do it. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, just do it, because there's no other way to learn but actually by simply immersing yourself in it.
All right, guys, here's our top 5 podcasting wins. Number 1, being able to connect with people that we would have never been able to connect with other than through this podcast. We have had people from all different walks of life, levels of economic status, entertainment, real estate, finance, different backgrounds and whatnot. And it's all thanks to this podcast. So we have learned a lot just from being able to invite different guests on.
Yeah, I really love that we get to sit and have a focused time with them and really be curious about their life and what they've done to be successful. They say that success leaves clues, and being able to sit down with all these successful people, a lot of them too, I've looked up to, like nowadays you see people on social media and all that stuff and you know what they do. And so I've looked up to them and I'm always like, wow, they're so successful. And it got us a chance to sit down and just have some focused time and learn from them.
And speaking of learning, number 2 is actually just learning about new ways to invest and save, and really looking at, what is it that we're building? Are we looking at community? Are we looking at money? Are we looking at just kind of redefining and shaping our definition of wealth?
Yeah, definitely. Through our different guests that we've had on our show so far, there's different ways of investing that we've learned. Like Hari Mixed talked to us about solar energy investing, which is really, really cool. Something that we didn't even look into before. Jonathan from Luxembourg also talked about kind of like community funding investing, which is really cool. So again, just different ways that investing that other people from other parts of the world have done.
Not only that, like Tinney and Crawford talking about community and investing in your neighbors,
yes,
and how much of a payoff that can have, because it's something that I think gets lost in the mix. But number 3 is learning the value of our time, delegating different tasks, really sitting down, going through the calendar together and making sure that we have enough time and we're on the same schedule, and also kind of passing off things that we don't have the time for.
Yeah, totally. It's literally understanding the value of your time versus the money that it's going to take you to pay someone else to do the job that is going to take you longer to try to learn, right? So for us, editing was one of them. Of course I can sit down and try to learn editing, but there's no reason I need to, because I can literally pay someone else to try to do that for us. And then it frees me up to do the things that I'm really good at, and then really hire someone who's good at what they do instead of trying to learn it and try to be good. Yeah.
Right. And we also, like, our life is different than your guys' life. So you have to evaluate that piece and see what you can cover on your own and what you need to kind of outsource and help with. But number 4, spending time and working on something as a couple. We rarely get to do this. I have a regular 9 to 5, and my wife is a performer. So she has all sorts of crazy schedules with training and auditions and self-tapes and everything else. So this is one of the first projects, other than like real estate and stuff, that we've been able to actually do on our own together.
Yeah, totally. It's really funny that we've been married for 13 years, but we actually don't really do anything as far as like a project together. Of course, we hang out and all that stuff, we do things together, but as far as a project, it has literally shown us that sometimes we're not really good at working together. Sometimes we go crazy at each other and we just want to, but at the same time, it's making us learn. So it's a very intangible and a valuable lesson that wins that we've had for this podcast.
Number 5 is understanding truly what a passion project is and how to budget for it.
Yeah. When we started this, it's definitely a passion project, and we're like, oh, wow, this is going to be how much it's going to take to put this project up and running. And, podcasts, it takes a while to monetize podcasts. And for us, it all is about the reason behind we're doing it. And yes, we're putting up the money up front, and we just know that as we do it, hopefully it will grow. If it's not monetarily, it's okay. We know that we're being listened to from across the world, and we are making a difference in other people's lives. And that is a huge thing for us.
But I think, for just as another little bit of encouragement, I mean, what we've invested into this podcast, monetarily wise, for equipment and just, having people do the edits has given us so much fruit in terms of just learning from our guests, allowing us to get into some different projects that we wouldn't have done without meeting our guests. And there's a lot of learning that you can gain from podcasting.
I guess it's kind of like we're paying for our education from learning from other guests. But while we're educating ourselves, it's also a project that we're putting out, which is really cool. So another way to think about it. Talking about passion project, what this project really means to us, this whole podcasting thing, is for us to be able to share to all of our listeners that a financially free life is possible. A wildly wealthy life is possible. And that means across the board, from your relationships to your career to your finances to everything it is that you do in life, that you can be wealthy. And, just the meaning of wealth is what we really wanted to kind of show to our listeners, that it's not even about the tangible and material things. And to be honest, we've interviewed guests from literally across so many different backgrounds, from finance to education to real estate investors to entertainment, elite athletes, military. And the common thread throughout all of them is that wealth is not about what you can gain, but it's really about what you can do to serve others. And that is the main message that we wanted to literally impart to all of our listeners. So we're going to talk about our guests now, just a little recap on all of our guests, because again, we've had guests from across so many different walks of life who have achieved financial independence or are on their track to it.
We had real estate investors who scaled up their earnings and their assets and businesses through self-investment and just a lot of hard work. You need to check out these episodes with Gino Barbaro, Roger Godwin, and David Dodge.
Yeah, David Dodge is a master wholesaler and flipper, and his main passion is literally to provide free education and tools for people to learn what it takes to become a master wholesaler. Gino Barbaro is his expertise is in multifamily units. He's got over 1,500 multifamily properties now, and he's got such a heart because he also has a culinary background. Before he even became a real estate investor, he owned a restaurant. Because he's got a culinary background where he owned a restaurant before he even became a real estate investor, his heart is literally to serve and to teach his kids how to have face-to-face interaction and serving people through physical action instead of just giving them, money. So what they do is every single Thanksgiving, they go to the Harlem, the kind of the impoverished areas of Harlem, and they cook Thanksgiving meals for 150 people. And
really awesome.
Yeah, really, really awesome. And we also have Roger Godwin, who again, he's also a wholesaler. He loves you have to listen to this episode and what he talks about networking and being very intentional about his networking. But also he's got this organization called Equip. And what he does is he goes to Kenya and he literally trains Kenyans on how to establish their own businesses so that they can flourish and make a future for themselves. So he's teaching them how to fish instead of just giving them fish. And if you want to listen to educators, we've had Justine Gonzalez, Jerry Bourne, and Hari Mix.
Justine was the founding principal of a network of schools focused on disengaged youth in Indianapolis and Chicago. She's passionate about the concept of overflow and how to give back creatively through her gifts and time. And Jerry Bourne tackled his student debt while teaching overseas in Saudi Arabia. He also started his journey a little bit late, like in his 30s, but he's out to prove that it doesn't matter when you start, it's that you get started. That's a huge piece. Mm-hmm. He's also very engaged with his local community, helping college and high school kids through coaching and helping them just, live their best life. And Hari Mix is a professor and earth scientist who has attained financial independence. He had a lot of struggles dealing with health issues with his grandparents and parents, but through that, he's really risen above and learned new ways of investing. He has a whole side of things dealing with solar power that's really awesome in the episode. But he's also an alpine climber. He summited the 12th and 13th highest mountains in the world without any kind of like supplemental oxygen. He just has a huge heart and is just an amazing individual.
And back to real estate for all my ladies out there, you have got to listen to Michelle Bosch and Monique Hum. So these women real estate investors who are powerhouse in the real estate industry. Monique Hum is the founder of Real Estate Goddesses, and her mission is literally to help 1 million women achieve wealth and financial independence through real estate. And Michelle Bosch, wow, land investing is, I didn't even know about land investing until I met Michelle Bosch, and she has over $40 million in assets through land investing. And what she does too is she's gone full circle because she's from Honduras, and because of the wealth that she has attained, she is able to give back to her home country and is now building a school over there that provides really good quality education to the kids of Honduras, which is just so amazing. We also had an elite athlete on one of our episodes. His name is Doug Berninger. He was a competitive weightlifter from 2007 to 2013 and is a certified strength and conditioning specialist and an advanced performance coach through USA Weightlifting. His passion is literally developing an after-school weightlifting program for underserved youth in the Seattle area.
We've also been able to tap into some different entrepreneurs like Philip Taylor, Cody Berman, Tinian Crawford, even Stephen Donovan, Jonathan, Liz Thames, and Nick Loper. First off, we had Philip Taylor, who is the founder and CEO of the Personal Finance Industry Conference and trade show FinCon. He loves focusing on home and being able to give back to his family first and being open to giving to others and different organization that he's very passionate about.
We also had Cody Berman, who is the founder of Flight to Fi and is the co-host of the FI Show podcast, also a co-founder of Gold City Ventures and the Financial Freedom Summit. I love that Cody is probably one of our youngest guests, I would say, right? But at such a young age, he has such a tenacity for life and also just for achieving financial independence so that he can be there for his family and build a life that he's always wanted to live. I love that he's passionate about just volunteering at local things like the local pantry and like at Special Olympics. Again, just the heart of volunteering and serving is, again, what our guests have like really shown us throughout this entire process.
And Tinian Crawford, Captain DIY himself.
Your favorite guest.
Who has one of the best beards. It goes between him and I think Stephen Donovan. They both have really great beards. But Tinian is a blogger and electrician for the last 10 plus years. And he's really grown his definition of wealth through the community around him. I think he is probably one of the best at cultivating community around his neighborhood.
Yeah, I love that. And I love his example of just as simple as breaking bread. I think that's one of the main takeaways for me is when he said that, some of the things that you can do to really build community is simply to gather and break bread and really fellowship with each other. So really love that about him. Stephen Donovan was one of our guests as well. And he went from literally making $10 an hour and into living a financially independent life, being able to pay off $100,000 in consumer debt and $200,000 in mortgage debt because of love. Well, I mean, I say that kind of cheesy, but it's true. Like it was because of a relationship that really made him drive towards paying off all these huge debt. And again, that to me is a testament of if you have a big why, it is so possible for you to tackle all these huge debt and live financially independent. His main passion is literally by serving and teaching people how to also live a financially free life. And I love that he started with his parents and he just started there and it's grown and he's helping people do just the same. We also had Jonathan, who was our very first international guest all the way from Luxembourg. It was really fun to talk to him. He is a business engineer and works in the energy industry. He's also got his own podcast called Johnny Talks. He's got a blog and is really passionate about really, again, just helping people understand what money is and how the financial world works. And I love that he's passionate about serving just his local church. He said, one of the things that he loves to do is literally just by being there for his local church and serving. So again, hearts of service for a lot of our guests. We also had Liz Thames, better known as Mrs. Frugalwoods. Her blog and just her book has been featured in the Today Show, Forbes, and USA Today. Just such an awesome time chatting with her because her value for frugality is not about, living as cheaply as possible. It's really a holistic view of frugality and involving her community throughout her journey of frugality. So I love that she's passionate about sourcing local communities for her groceries, being able to really have a community with her neighbors where they do hand-me-downs and just like little things like doing their own haircuts. Like, again, just really awesome episode about frugality and how to move towards a financially free life.
And we also had Nick Loper, who is a master of the side hustle. And he has an awesome podcast and YouTube channel and has
called The Side Hustle Show.
The Side Hustle Show. And there's a ton of awesome tidbits that he even shared on our podcast that you guys should totally listen to if you're looking at doing any kind of podcasting or getting into side hustling. And he is amazing. So tune into that episode with Nick Loper. And next, we're going to jump back into the real estate market with Brian Long and Matt Faircloth, both of which were able to really raise up their capital through private investing and private investors who help them be able to get their first real estate deals.
Yeah, so it's really awesome. Check out Brian Long's episode because he is someone that I must say, started the very first deal he had was not even his own money. It was through a private funding. And he scaled from 2 properties in his very first deal to 12 in 1 year. And now I know from just talking to him and touching base with him the last couple of months, he's actually now to 16 properties. So again, just the way he scaled because of private funding and the trust that he's built throughout this community, and people know that that's what he does, and people come to him and want to invest with him is really amazing.
And with Matt Faircloth, through the private investing, he's actually bought multi-million-dollar properties and has helped a ton of people, ourselves included. We've actually invested in one of his deals, and his podcast, his interviews on Bigger Pockets and wherever else you can find him, his book. There's just a ton of resources out there that you can find on Matt Faircloth and all the business deals that he's doing.
And what I love about Matt, we invested with him, as Lee said, we invested in a 222 unit apartment building in Lexington, Kentucky with him. And, as an investor, you can just, hey, let's just do this building and that's it. He's actually really doing some massive improvements, putting a soccer field, putting a playground, putting a swimming pool, because he really wants to build a community with this apartment building, which is just, again, for us as investors, is so great because it's not just about what you get, the return that you get, but also really providing a good quality life for your tenants.
And I think that's a big lesson too. It's not about the money. If you make it about the money, it's going to fall short. And what he does, and most of all of our guests do, is they find a purpose. They find something that really makes them come alive, and they invest into that. And then the money comes. And that's the best part, I think, of both Brian and Matt.
Yeah, totally.
All right, guys. And next we have one of the best named guests in our entire 24 episodes. His name is Lee Huffman.
And the best initials too, because it's Lee, LH, like you,
gosh,
Lee Hughes,
that's
Lee
amazing.
Huffman.
L.H. Go for the win.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Lee Huffman, if you want to learn about traveling and travel hacks, listen to that episode. He's got a blog called baldthoughts.com. He's bald, beautifully bald. And it's all about traveling more, spending less, and living better. And he's also got a podcast called We Travel There, and it's all about traveling. And what we love about Lee is just his heart for service, again, for community. He moved to Nashville, and when the Nashville tornado hit, he made sure that a portion of his blog proceeds would go to tornado relief victims. So that was just such an awesome thing for him to do.
And going back to entrepreneurs, we have Carlos Hernandez.
Yeah, we kind of sectioned him a little bit because it's such a special thing that what he does, not that everybody else isn't special, but his is like specifically for the Latino community. Mm-hmm. So for all the Latinos out there, listen to this episode. Is that your ode to Latinos?
That is.
Hey. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, just tune into that episode. And he has a very special website and business called Crediverso that is really geared towards the Hispanic and Latino community, because a lot of times the Hispanic and Latino community, they get taken advantage of because a lot of them don't speak English, and so they don't understand the terms of credit cards and interest and all these things. And so his main heart is to literally educate and to make sure that his community does not get taken advantage of. And mind you, he's got 2 Harvard degrees. He got offered Wall Street jobs, and he turned them all down because he really wanted to build this community, a startup from the ground up, to be able to really help the underserved Latino community.
And rounding out our first 24 guests is Doug Nordman and Carol Pittner, both Navy vets. So thank you all the military veterans out there in the world. And Doug actually was able to become financially independent by age 40.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Such a young age to be able to be financially free. What I love about this episode is that it was a father-daughter team that talked about how to become financially free, how to raise your family to become financially savvy. And I love his heart for the military, that he is really really trying to go out there and educate the military how to take care of their money, because a lot of the military folks go and serve, and then when they come back, they actually have no clue what to do, and then they kind of like don't have the funds to be able to start living a regular life in a civilian. So check out that episode if you're a military personnel, a veteran. It's such an awesome episode. It's so heartwarming, and just to see the relationship between a father and a daughter tackling this whole financial freedom thing together. And when it comes to financial planning, we actually had a really awesome financial advisor on our episode, and his name is Eric Brotman. What I love about him is that episode was all about family planning, about living wills and trust, and leaving a legacy. And I love how he serves in two very specific organizations, which is the Alzheimer's Association and Juniors Achievement, which basically it's like two ends of the spectrum, right? Like the elderly and then also the kids. And what he does with the kids is he teaches them how to become financially literate at such a young age.
Yeah, and it's just awesome seeing how he plans with his own family and helps others, like just be able to protect the family, and to really think about, we all are going to come to a point where we pass. My father passed earlier this year, and it was really awesome hearing just some of the different things that my dad could have done, but how he's able to help other families with that future planning.
Well, that's it for our guest recap. Now we are down to our last and final thing for our 25th celebration episode, which is the giveaway. We are giving away 6 amazing books. Yeah, 6 amazing books. And along with it comes a $25 gift card to Amazon. So 6 total, right? So 6 lucky winners. And the way you enter is to go to wildlywealthylife.com. That's our website. It will have details on how to enter. But really, the one main thing here is that the way to enter is for you to do an act of kindness or service to a loved ones, maybe someone you haven't talked to in a while, or maybe a stranger. It doesn't matter who, doesn't matter how. It's honestly not even about what you can give financially, but it's about how you can give creatively through your time, through some of your resources, through your talents and your gifts, whatever it may be creative. So that's one entry. Honestly, as Wildly Wealthy Life podcast host, this whole thing for us is about inspiring people how to live their best life, to encompass their community and their families. And it's not just about what you can gain, but it's also about what you can give. So if you do that, you get one entry. If you do a little bit more, if you want to check out our Facebook page, if you want to check out our Instagram, our YouTube, then you get a couple more bonus entries. Again, that honestly is just icing on the cake for us. If you do that one thing, that to us is the sweetest thing. And so we're really excited to hear your stories on what you did and how it's helped impact other people's lives and also impacted yours. Because when you give, you make a difference.
And I think too, like right now, a lot of people, your neighbors and friends and just people you might see on the street, they really need a little lift right now. Mm-hmm. And we're super excited to see the ripple effect of this little stone in the pond. So do your part. Help us help you. And we're super excited for our giveaway.
So let's talk about the books. The books that we're going to be giving away are books that have been written by some of our guests. We have a couple of guests that are also authors, and they've put away some really amazing material and some amazing books that you can learn from and glean from. So let's talk about book number 1. So our first book is written by one of our guests named Gino Barbaro. It's a book called Honeybee, and it is a business parable on how to get unstuck and taking control of your financial future.
And book number 2 is by Monique Hom, The Real Estate Investor Goddess Handbook, everything you need to know to invest in real estate like a goddess.
I have read this book, and personally, I think it's a great book and so easy and simple to follow when it comes to what it takes to do real estate investing. The third book is by Eric Brotman. Honestly, I have a little bit of a bias. He's one of my favorite guests. I just had such a great time chatting with him. So I don't know. It was a good time. So Retire Wealthy by Eric Brotman, and also it's going to be a signed copy. He said he's going to sign the copy, and it's going to be a hardbook cover of the book that he will be sending. So,
and number 3 is Matt Faircloth, Raising Private Capital, Building Your Real Estate Empire Using Other People's Money. He is a master of being able to collect and build like a lake of finances that you can just pull from to help forward different investments that you're looking at doing.
The fifth book is by Liz Thames. It's called Meet the Frugal Woods, Achieving Financial Independence Through Simple Living. Really cool book. I hope that you enjoy it, whoever the winner is.
And the final book is by Doug Nordman, our military veteran, Raising Your Money-Savvy Family for the Next Generation of Financial Independence. An awesome book, lots of great tidbits, and super excited for whoever's able to pick that book up.
So that's it. And remember, every single book comes with a $25 Amazon gift card. And we hope that you share this contest. These books are amazing. And we hope that just by simply doing an act of kindness, it becomes, as Lee said, a ripple effect in your life where you see it just, continue to grow.
And we're super excited for next week as we kick off our next session.
If you're watching the YouTube channel, he literally just kicked. That's basically what it is.
But we have Fierce Lotus, a dynamic kicking and punching duo of mighty warriors that are ready to share their love, share their heart and their stories on dealing with money and wealth.
So yeah, two amazing women warriors, Heidi Moneymaker and Lisa Newman. Heidi Moneymaker is a professional actress and a stunt woman, has stunt doubled for so many major films, like all the Marvel films basically, and she started way back then with Charlie's Angels. And Lisa Newman is a chief financial officer of one of the biggest restaurant groups here in the US. So just really excited to have them on, and tune in. Don't miss out. Don't miss out on listening to Black Widow, y'all. Okay? So, or the Black Widow stunt double. So yeah, make sure you tune in. So again, thank you everybody for listening and supporting our podcast from the last 24 episodes. And if you just discovered us today, great. We are so appreciative that you took the time to listen to our episode today. And a special shout out to Potted Ties, Tom and Tracy Hazard and Alexandra. They have been such a huge help to our growth as podcasters. And without them, we honestly wouldn't have been able to do this. And so they really helped us from the conception of the podcast, from everything, literally every single detail. So for anyone out there who's trying to do podcasting and you don't know where to start, hit up Potted Ties, Tom and Tracy Hazard, look them up. It's going to be in the show notes. And yeah, they're just such a great help and great editors as well. So check them out.
Thanks, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you
on
in
our
a week.
26th episode. Woo!
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wildly Wealthy Life. We hope that this episode has helped you take another step towards living fully, giving freely, and building a legacy that deeply impacts your community. We'd love to hear what you think about today's show. Please leave us a review or like us on iTunes and YouTube, and click the subscribe button so you won't miss a show. You can also visit us at wildlywealthylife.com for today's show notes. See you on our next episode. Thank you, and may you live a wildly wealthy life.